good, interweb? This is your boy Q, the host with the most, aka that dude, Arcane Prophecy, aka Cross Life, aka that dude, the geek. And look, I'm back, and I'm sorry for the inconvenience, but I had three people on, three guest people for the second, which should have been like the 20th, Geek Talk, which is going to be my every other week podcast where basically I just get on here and unfiltered, concuss, talk about some real shit, and get on here and talk about video games, anime, just a little bit of life, but not too much of stuff when it comes to life, and what I'm collecting, what I'm doing, and what's really popping and what's out right now. As we all know, that Game of Thrones just came out, season 7, and what is it, only going to be about 7 episodes. However, each episode is going to be about 5 or 10 minutes extra, so that way we don't feel so bad. But I already feel bad, and if you are a person that's been following Game of Thrones since the beginning, because I got into it about 2 years ago and binged it, but if you're a person who's been following it since what, 2012, 2010, then your feelings are already hurt and you're already going through some depression, because this is the last second to last season, and it's so much shit that's going down on Game of Thrones now that you have to literally go back and watch the series again right before the new season comes out, and then watch each episode twice just to get the full grasp. At least that's with me, because I love to go back and then even drop the subs on it sometimes and put the subs so I can see exactly what the intent, or you know how people be whispering shit sometimes, to see exactly what the person is saying. But this whole show is not going to be based off of just Game of Thrones, and I didn't give my folks a shout out. Shout out to the boys and the girls who were on the last podcast who it didn't come out because the thing started sounding like you know how when you got Boost Mobile, where you at? Or when you got Metro, or you got bad reception with Sprint or T-Mobile, it sounded like that and it was chipping. But shout out to my folks, the Black Mage, the darkest mage you ever know. I didn't even know they had white-faced mages, but the blackest mage you would ever know. That Negro, Black Mage, my homeboy from way back in the day, Westwood, always up to no good. Right, daddy. And what's this young lady's name? The anime hostess with the mostest, Jessie. Appreciate you all coming out for the podcast, but we're gonna get it together. The first and foremost thing that we had already discussed or wanted to talk about on there, and don't worry folks, when people are listening to this and you see the time and you're like, damn, that's kind of long to listen to this dude talk, but I have a structure, but it's going to get better during time. But what I wanted to talk about, what I got everybody together to talk about, was who were the winners and losers of E3. It was almost a general consensus between all 4 members here that run the podcast, or the Geekcast, the Geek Talk, was that there was no true winner of E3. And while E3 itself is already merging and changing into something different, which is kind of like they're doing a whole Comic-Con thing. And you know what, I guess the question should be begged to ask is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? I think it's a little bit of both. I think that it's a good thing because of the fact that it gets more people involved in the community of what video games actually is. And I love the fact that we can walk down the street and people are talking about video games, or you can be at a workplace and people are talking about video games. I had a boss, a former boss, come on one of my live streams just last night, and when I was playing, or what was it, Final Fantasy 12, and he's like, what's up with you, Q? And that is a big thing. I also had co-workers where I used to come in and I used to play the Switch, or people that see you at a dentist office or see you around and you're playing the Switch, or you're talking about a movie like when Assassin's Creed came out, and you're talking about this stuff and people are looking like, damn, that was a video game first. I think that that's really good for the community of video games. However, let's be real. Most video game companies, other than Microsoft at this year's E3, really didn't have anything extravagant to debut as far as it being introducing a PS5 or introducing Nintendo Switch. The Xbox One X got introduced, which is so cute that the acronym for the Xbox One X is the Xbox, which is clever. It goes all full circle with the whole Xbox thing. Other than that, there were everybody else from Sony and Nintendo, even Microsoft to a degree, had already talked about what they were going to do. I feel personally, and I was the only one within the group conversation about this, felt that Sony won, and the reason why I felt that Sony won, because Sony showed up, and most of the games that were being featured at E3 were Sony games. And you know, like I know, if you're listening to this podcast, basically, or any other things of me rambling on about video games, anime, and other stuff, is the fact that a lot of times, well, most of the time, the general populace are the people who are just the casual fans are just buying stuff. So a lot of the revenue and sales go up from Call of Duty games, from Halo games, from 2K, from MLB, from Maddens, from FIFAs. So a lot of people don't dig into the strategy-based games or the simulating games or the role-playing games or certain action-adventure games. A lot of people don't want to play those games. But there are people who want to play video games, sports. I used to have a roommate. The only thing he bought was, he went from season to season based off of just whatever sports game. I remember his girlfriend used to get mad. She used to be hot 90% of the time because he went from 2K to MLB or from Madden. Well, you know, I mentioned the order up, but he went through all these games, but he had no interest in playing other games. I introduced him to The Last of Us, and this Negro looked at me like I said something about his mama. But I digress and go back into the original point that I was saying, who won E3? Well, like I just stated, I felt Sony won because even though they didn't deliver anything exactly new, and the best game in my opinion, or the best 3 games in my opinion by Sony, has already been something that's either been rehatched or it's been something that's already been done before, as in the Spider-Man game, which looks amazing. They basically just took the Batman Arkham games and put Spider-Man in it. And Spider-Man, well, web slinging across city to city and fighting and doing stuff. If you haven't seen the trailer, check it out. But it's really an amazing concept. Dragon Ball Z Fighter also struck my attention there, and mainly it struck my attention because of the fact that, damn, it actually looks like a game, or that you're playing an anime. It looks like you're playing an anime. One of my favorite things about my favorite fighting game is, well, Smash Brothers is on a different type of fighting scale, but my favorite, like, 2-player side-scrolling 3D fighting game is the Soul Calibur series. But I also really enjoy Guilty Gear and Blaze Blue, but I'm not as good as I am with the other ones. And I do love Street Fighter. Who didn't love Street Fighter? But I like the premise and the graphics and the feel of the Dragon Ball Z Fighter, and that had a bigger turnout than the games that were supposed to be bigger, which was the Capcom versus Marvel Infinite or Infinity or whatever, because it's getting ready for the Infinity Wars. And that right there, it wasn't a huge turnout for that. And then another game that really struck my attention, or struck a chord with me, was Dissidia. Dissidia finally coming to an actual home console. We don't have to go around and lug it around with us all the time, which is not a bad thing to have a portable device. I love my Switch. However, I want to see certain games on a big screen. And Dissidia, when it looks like you're able to play with 6 people at one time, and it could be a possibility of 8, that right there, I really love that idea and that concept. I really enjoyed it. I actually got a chance to play that one. As far as Nintendo, many people on the interweb and a lot of the channels and other people that are friends, family, and foes alike that I follow, they feel that Nintendo won. I personally didn't feel that Nintendo won, just with the announcement of Metroid for the 3DS, which it should have been for the Switch, and the announcement of Metroid Prime 4, which just posted a picture. I don't know what the hell kind of game is going to be. They said Prime, but is it going to be a first-person shooter, or what is it actually going to be? And we already had seen Mario Odyssey way beforehand with the launch of the Switch back in October, when they were showing that, trailer when I was almost late for work to see the damn trailer at 6 something a.m. So we already seen that. We already seen or heard about the Ubisoft's collaboration with Nintendo as far as the Mario RPG Rabbids game, even though I really wish and I hope and pray before I stood in that long, grueling, hot, heated line of E3, which I'm very appreciative of, was that I wanted to see Square Enix dabble in it or help or go into it so I can see Geno again. But we got a costume for Geno in this latest version of Smash Brothers, so hope and pray we get some kind of something. So hopefully that we get some type of Geno or Mallow or other characters, please Geno, in this upcoming Smash Brothers Deluxe. So I'm hoping for that. So I guess if you were to say, in my opinion, who do I think won E3? Again, I'll emphasize it. If I have to give a letter grade, which probably is better, more people like numbers and letters than actually discussion and topics about things nowadays. But if I have to give a letter grade, I would give Nintendo a B+. No, let me rescale that. I would give Nintendo a B. I would give Sony a B+ because of its consistency, and I give Microsoft a solid C+. And the reason why I'm gonna give Microsoft a solid C+, and notice I didn't talk a lot about Microsoft, not because of any past hate for the company, but mainly because of the fact that it has no games. And that's the reason why I didn't personally buy an Xbox One, because like, damn, it has no games. Nintendo has games that I want to play that are only exclusively for Nintendo. And Sony, while they don't have as many exclusivities, they don't have as many exclusive games, they have a lot of Japanese games that are by third-party companies that are only on the system. So let me rephrase that before I get hammered on. Sony doesn't have as many first-party games that I want to play, but because of their relationship in Japan, they have a lot of role-playing games and other games that I like to play by third-party companies that are made in Japan that are only for the the PlayStation 4. And I'm glad that, speaking of PlayStation 4, that they have not decided to jump in and start talking about their next generation system, which speculation, and I don't have a link, but I've just been hearing it scattered out from over the web that was speculated between 2018 and 2020. Hopefully it's going to push back to 2020, because don't dick the fans around, Sony. Please, y'all on top, don't do what Xbox and Nintendo did with as far as the 360 and as far as when Nintendo did with the success from the Wii. So I just did a perfect segue to the next topic that I wanted to discuss, and I wanted to elaborate on what I felt that was going to happen within the whole console and PC. Well, PC is PC, so, you know, PC the master race. I'm not messing with y'all. My PC is boo-boo right now, so I'm not even getting on to that. However, I didn't want to talk about with the consoles and what I have as far as predictions within the consoles, and talk briefly with me and some of the other geeks had talked about as far as what we've seen, what was going to go on with the Nintendo Switch, with the PlayStation 4 Pro and the PlayStation 5, and with this Xbox. I'm just going to start calling it Xbox because it's Xbox X, or you know what I mean, but the Xbox. And I will have to start off with Nintendo and say this, that Nintendo, out of all the video game companies, is the only video game company which primary mission has and is and will always be to cater to gamers. And if you pick up a Nintendo system, regardless of whether it's the Wii, if it's the NES, whether it's the NES Mini, or if it's the Super Nintendo, GameCube, it does not matter. Anybody can pick a game up and play the game, whether it's Mario, Zelda, Metroid. It does not take rocket science to be able to pick up a Nintendo game. However, you will quickly learn that sometimes it takes rocket science to master a Nintendo game, and that is the beauty of Nintendo. Now, Sony, if you remember, is actually a company that used to make computers and used to be a big TV company where they make so many products, and they also have a movie division, as well as Microsoft having different divisions when they used to do the Zune, and they have dabbling in music, and then they also do different things with Microsoft Word, and most of their money and everything comes from software and some hardware with phones and computers and everything geared towards PC. So what does all this say? My first initial thought that what Nintendo is going to do is stay true to what its roots are and continue to focus on being a handheld home console hybrid. And with doing this, if they can cut the umbilical cord for the 3DS, then I think there is an actual chance that this Nintendo Switch can become one of the greatest Nintendo systems of all time, and yes, I'm not speaking blasphemy, one of the greatest systems of all time, because of the fact of the success it's having in Japan, and the fact that a lot of people in Japan only have so much limited space because, well, Japan is smaller than California. And if you have this limited amount of space, but you have a dock and you can take the dock to different rooms and plug and play that, coupled with the fact that it's a Japanese-based company, and once they continue to make games for it, when other third-party companies come, i.e. the Atlases, the Capcoms, more Square Enix, you don't really necessarily have to have a big top-tier Take-Two just yet. However, do you believe that Take-Two will not put a past version of Grand Theft Auto 5, 4, Vice City, San Andreas, or some other of their big games, even like an old Red Dead Redemption, onto the Nintendo Switch, if Nintendo Switch starts or is out continuously to outsell Microsoft systems as well as Sony systems, or is competing with Sony systems in the standings? We're going to see a lot that's going to happen with Nintendo come this Christmas, which is the second Switchmas, and this is the real Switchmas, because now people are going to have the opportunity to play Mario, Zelda. They're going to be looking forward to, might be more sprinkles of, because I think the Tokyo Game Show comes out is this fall, it's going to be in the fall, so it's going to be more sprinkles of what Zelda's doing. You're already going to have Splatoon 2, which I'm going to have to probably wait for a minute to get, because I just got Final Fantasy, as well as ARMS, Mario Kart Deluxe, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is going to be out. It's going to be more than enough games out, and even FIFA, this is a perfect example, is going to be out, as well as 2K18. Now, I think I might get the 2K18 for the Nintendo Switch. Hopefully, they can put the My GM mode into it, but then again, it might be like the FIFA, where they're not going to put the full FIFA experience onto it. However, the FIFA, what I've seen of the screens for the Nintendo Switch look really good. Oh, not to mention that Skyrim's going to be out. Even though a lot of people already played Skyrim, it's a 2011 game, some people haven't. And a lot of people who are diehard Nintendo people may have not played the game. Let's hope and pray it comes out at a discounted price. As far as Microsoft is going to continue to do what Microsoft does best, and that is be a computer-based company. And by saying that, I envision Microsoft, which they already have speculations and talking about, Microsoft continuously being a plug-and-play system, meaning that Microsoft, the further along we go within the system's lifespan, and with the connectivity between hooking your Xbox One, which you can do now, to your Windows 10, you can get information and interchangeable with trophies and things. I already see, especially if you have a Microsoft phone, a Windows phone, I can see this interchangeability within the system doing that more, and being able to take a hard drive out and plug another hard drive into the system and modding your system. So basically you have a cheaper version of, or basically in a sense, you're having a game console. Like if you go to Fry's or Best Buy, you can buy yourself a gaming PC for between $500 to $600, which is just, enough specs to be able to play games and play Steam and do different games and stuff onto your PC. So I envision that the Xbox X One X, get tongue twisted, is actually going to follow in that suit. So that's what I see Microsoft doing. I think that Microsoft is trapping themselves in the corner and can be doomed if they don't get themselves out of this rut where they refuse to have other games except Western-based games, because they're following a thin line. It's a thin line between Microsoft and Sega, and they don't want to follow that line when it comes to Sega, which reported a whole bunch of new systems within a short period of time and didn't deliver a great diversity of games. Microsoft is infamous for its online play, and it's infamous for sports games and shooters. However, this is an evolved world that we live in, and shooters are once again going on the downswing, and people are looking for more games to be able to jump into and play other than just shooting somebody online, unless you can have something where it has another strategy base in it. If they do that, I don't think Halo or Gears can save Microsoft this way. I think that they need to make more original IP, and I'm glad that they brought Scalebound back, so I want to see more games like that. I wouldn't even mind seeing them jump into some of Sega's old vaults or something like that, and maybe try to bring back a Dragon Force, or try to get some of the rights. Microsoft has money. Try to get some of the rights to buy. I'm just gonna throw a game out there because they took Rare, but Rare wasn't into their wheelhouse, which they should have took. Rare made a mistake by leaving Nintendo, and Nintendo made a mistake by letting Rare go. Even though Nintendo is still okay, Rare is almost an afterthought right now. But they need to find someone where they can bring in some more games like that. Maybe even try to get the exclusive rights of Shenmue. That will bring in a big Japanese-based audience. And last but not least, because they were my winners of E3, is Sony. Sony, to stay on top of everything, needs, in my opinion, this is my humble opinion, relax, chill out, my opinion is do not dabble anymore in with the handheld division. Nintendo has proven time and time again that the handheld division is their niche market. You can have something, but if you're going to have it, don't try to rip and rape Nintendo completely of their ideas. Like that patent that's been going around, that whole thing with the Sony Switch, where you have the Move controllers hooked onto the system and it's a bigger thing, but you can't fit that in your pocket. I have trouble fitting my Nintendo Switch into my pocket, so the ability to try to fit in something 7, 8, 9 inches into your pockets, that's a screen of that size magnitude, that's a whole together different thing. And plus, Sony doesn't make the most durable systems, so that can easily break at any point in time. Sony also needs to stay away from this whole dark tone palette. And what I mean by dark tone palette, what is that game, The Days In? Looks really good, but doesn't that game look a lot like The Last of Us and Uncharted and Tomb Raider, which is a third-party game, which is on other systems as well? But doesn't that also look like Horizon Zero Dawn? I am very excited that they brought back Crash Bandicoot, which Crash was at the top of the holy trinity of video game icons, especially, he's up there with Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse in his own respective right. It's Mario, Sonic, and then Crash Bandicoot. And the amount of people that love Crash Bandicoot and the resurgence of bringing back the Insane Trilogy is a sign that Sony needs to go back into its own vault, into its own archives, and bring back some of its other IPs, i.e. such as Parappa the Rapper, and bringing back some Vigilante 8. I would even like to see Sony try to get some exclusivity. I've been having trouble with that word just today. But some exclusive rights on some Tony Hawk things. I got a homeboy who just told me the other night he went back playing PS1 and PS2 Tony Hawk. So certain games have a nostalgic factor, and people would love to buy again and see games again. Sony in itself, because of its movie division, most of its games, if you know or if you play them, have, especially their first party games, or ones that are second party are very close to their chest, are games that have a very big cinematic feel. That's one of the reasons why in the 90s, when Square left Nintendo and basically decided to go for Sony, they made a whole living in doing things that were from the cinematic front. And I think that if Sony can continue not to be as arrogant as Nintendo, as they were with the PS2, and as Microsoft has been with the 360, we all have trial and error, but if they can continue to do that and not push the whole PS5 just yet, I think that Sony will be okay. Not to mention, they'll be okay, as I alluded to earlier, if they keep on pouring out 7 to 8 exclusive games per month, which I noticed by doing these monthly video game releases at the beginning of each month. It's usually Nintendo 1 or 2 games per month, Microsoft 2 or 3, which is unacceptable for an Xbox system that's been out since what, 2014, 13, 14? And Sony with 7 or 8 games per month. That is ridiculous. But before I go, I wanted to jump in, and this couldn't be a full geek gaming, entertainment, anime, and comedy type video if I don't talk about anime and some forms of entertainment. I was not interested in watching this whole Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor fight until I seen one of someone, I can't remember, was Dorkly, where he did an 8-bit video about what's going to happen in the Conor McGregor Mayweather fight. And if I have the clip, I'll post the clip, but if not, I might just let the gameplay run. Is because you see Conor getting his face smashed in by Mayweather, but then all of a sudden you see Conor take 1 or 2 more hits than he wanted, and then he tackles Mayweather and breaks his whole head off, and then the game is over. That right there, coupled with the fact that I watch a lot of ESPN, and I've been seeing all this propaganda for the fight, I might not buy the $100 fight, probably won't buy the $100 fight, but I might go to like a Buffalo Wild Wings or some shit like that and go and see it. But I had to keep that and talk about that because that's pop culture news. And anytime you 8-bit something, you know it's got a special place, not only in gamers' heart, but in my heart as well. As far as what animes and video games I'm watching and playing right now, I'm torn between Persona 5 and how I wish I could play Persona 5 and stream it through the PlayStation camera, but I'm not able to. I'm about 100 hours into that game, and this is my first Persona game that I've ever played. When I beat it, I'll do a review. I think I'm on my 4th palace. No spoilers in the comments, please. I'm on my 4th palace, and you know, this is my first Persona playing, and I'm really enjoying it, and I'm realizing that the story is really based in the characters. And it's so many things to do within the day that I'm having a hard time like balancing. What do I need to wash my clothes today? Do I need to talk to my boo Makoto? But I gotta keep on, or you know, I gotta keep friendship with her. So then our affinity goes up. My boy Ryuji was, you know, so I like that, and I like the fact that the battle system, you have to go to a special place to battle. I also like that the dude's name, if you look up his default name, is Akira! And I love me some Akira! I'm really interested to see how that live action movie's gonna be. I really enjoyed Spider-Man Homecoming. I'm not going to talk about that too much because I have a video that I'm going to post. I don't know if it's going to be this week or the beginning of next week that I'm going to post a video of my review of Spider-Man Homecoming. But I did really enjoy that. I will say that's why Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man has a special place in my heart. I did like Garfield a little bit better, especially as Spider-Man, but I like Tobey Maguire more as Peter Parker. But Tom Holland, I like Tom Holland as Peter Parker, especially because we're going to get a chance to watch him grow up. And seeing him in the theaters and seeing how the little kids and how people start to look and see a new age Spider-Man I liked it that they were doing. My only gripe is I think it might have been too much Iron Man within this Spider-Man movie. I mean, after all, this is a Spider-Man movie. I'm also playing Final Fantasy. No, I just jumped into movies instead of finishing games. I'm also playing Final Fantasy 12 Zodiac Age. I was not able to beat FF12 in 2006 because I just got bored. I got to the same part all the time where I'm in this desert. It looks like a oil refinery or some shit like that. And I always got to that part and I got really bored. And it didn't seem like it was a love interest. No spoilers on this either. I haven't beat it. I didn't know if Pinello was supposed to be humping on Vaughn. If Vaughn was trying to look up Ash's skirt. What the hell Fran and Balthier were doing. Is Vaughn this 36-year-old man, but he has a crush on this 19-year-old woman that her husband died. Like, what's going on? What's happening? I didn't really feel that Final Fantasy essence into the game. Nor 13. I know when Kanabu Sakagachi left, a lot of the heart and soul of Final Fantasy left. A little bit of that was brought back when 15 came out, but then again, a whole boy band. I like 15, but a whole boy band is not bringing us back to the whole glory of the Final Fantasy days. I am really excited about playing the game, and I have been live streaming that game. So if you're watching this and you're this far, 30-something minutes into this podcast, take a look at some of my live streams. I am live streaming Final Fantasy 12. I think I might start over because I'm only about 10 hours into the game. But because I did not like the way I put Pinello as one of the her classes. You get 2 job classes now. And I wanted her to be a machinist, but I already had Balthier as a machinist, and I'm trying to think I should have switched Balthier and should have switched her from doing something. Yada, yada, yada. I might make her a monk or in the class where she's able to use the pole. Give her a little white magic, some healing and tech type stuff. I see her more as like an engineer tech type person. Just, she seems like she's smart and wise on that part. As far as anime, damn. I need to catch back up on Boruto. I think the last episode of Boruto I was on was like episode 6, and I really started enjoying that, and I love the fact that now, and this is spoiler free when it comes to this, just in case you're not caught up, but what I really like the fact is that how I was shipping Sakura and Naruto for the longest, all the way until me and Zairen Risen, somebody else was on the Geek Talk with earlier when we did it. He used to always ship Hinata and Naruto, and I ship Sakura and Naruto. But I do like that I can't even remember right now. Hinata's clan was in the Hyuga clan. Yeah, the Hyuga clan. I like that her mixed with the Uzumaki clan now, where it looks like Boruto is going to be talking to Sasuke's daughter. So for now, it looks like you have these 3 great houses that can mix up into one. I am a big advocate of that. More of that, please. I like that. I would like to see what their kids would be and do a Naruto's generation. I can see Boruto being what Dragon Ball was to Gohan for Dragon Ball Z. So Boruto being Gohan and Goku being Naruto, and the story is centered around it's supposed to be sitting around Boruto, but you know Naruto's gonna have to come because he's still the strongest person in what he has to do in his family and life. I'm also 7 episodes from finishing Code Geass, and I must say Code Geass is almost about to peak my top 10 all-time animes because I did not expect Code Geass to be this good. And another shout out to Zairen Risen, mainly because of the fact he had been telling me about this for about 4 or 5 years to go and watch Code Geass, but I didn't have the time. I was always doing something else, and I just sat down a couple weeks ago and start watching it, and I'm really enjoying myself watching this anime. And I thought it was such a small box within an anime, but Code Geass actually opens up to be a bigger worldwide thing that also includes 2 things that people say you should never mix, which is religion and politics. And it looks like it has a little spatial stuff into it too. I'm also, of course, watching Dragon Ball Super, and I love the fact that these angels, are we going to have to fight the angels now? This is an interesting topic. they did have a long 13 to 20 episode hangover, so to speak, with before they got to the Tournament of Power, and I wasn't feeling that, but I tuned in, of course. But that I really enjoyed. Attack on Titan just finished, and I got a video coming out as well with that, explaining what I think is the better season 2 between Attack on Titan season 2 and Baku no My Hero Academy, or My Hero Academia, whichever you want to talk about or how you want to say it. But I'm watching those 2 series as well. AOT just finished, so I'm not going to talk too much about that because that's hard to talk about without talking about too many spoilers. And like I said, I am watching My Hero Academia, and I'm really enjoying that. And again, it's so hard for me to discern which one I like more as far as the season 2s, even though they're on 2 different genres of type of games. I mean, of games, but animes. But I really feel that this series, Bakuno, fits in with the One Pieces and the Dragon Ball Z's and the Naruto's of this shonen type anime, and I really want to see where they can go with this and see if this could actually go into space or something like that too. I have a big affinity for space, but go into space and stuff because of the abilities of the powers and where are the powers coming from, who is the originator, what's going on. So I'm very excited about that. I was on LaserCat006. He, one of my other homeboys, a YouTuber. If you're following this, go ahead and check him out. He does streams. He's found his niche, which is doing anime-based games. And he found that niche, and he streams at least 3 to 4 times a week. So check him out. His claim to fame has been that Steins Gate, because that was his first time playing or hearing the Steins Gate story. But I was on his Discord about a month ago, and I heard about Jatima. I think that's the name of it. And I'm gonna start watching that as soon as I finish watching Code Geass. So might finish Code Geass and just knock that out tonight. I also have to watch Castlevania, which I'll get to that, and it's good that that's only 4 episodes. Again, there's Game of Thrones. Arrow's gonna be out pretty soon. Flash season 4, so I have to catch up on something. It's so much geeky stuff that's coming out. That movie, Verlandland, I want to see that, and I still need to see Wonder Woman. Whew! It's so much coming out, and it's so much stuff that's there. I go and pick up my collectibles, my amiibos come out. Pikmin, Cloud, Avid Children, Bayonetta, and the Bayonetta 2 version, and some other Fire Emblem amiibos. They all come out on the 21st. And if you don't get your damn amiibos when you can get your damn amiibo, shit, you ain't getting no goddamn amiibos. So I gotta get them amiibos on the 21st. Most of them are paid for already. And again, Splatoon comes out as well this Friday. But sorry that I couldn't get you to join in when the whole Geek Squad here was in, but there will be another chance, probably in a couple weeks, for us to go ahead and do that. The mic and everything should be up and better by that time. But as always, this has been your boy Q, your friendly neighborhood geek. Thank you for tuning in and watching and listening for this long. Hopefully the gameplay was entertaining me as well. And if you did like this video, please make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you ring that bell that's right above that subscribe button that you can hit if you like this content. That'll keep you up to date with all things games, all things entertainment, anime, comedy, and pretty much all things geek. And until next time, peace.